Hey everyone, welcome back. I wanted to spend a little time talking more about enharmonic spelling and why it's so important. Going over that, people oftentimes ask, what's the big deal? Why does it matter if I call the note G sharp or A flat? Well, it depends on the context, and also it really has to do with notation, music notation, the way it looks on the page to the musician performing the music. So on your screen, I've got an example of some chords. There's four of them there, and the first two are written from low to high as E, G sharp, and B. That repeats. And in the second measure, you've got an E, A flat to B from low to high. Now, enharmonically, these are exactly the same things. I've just changed the middle note, G sharp, to an A flat, but you can see they look different on the page. If I play the audio, you'll hear it sounds, they all sound the same. Okay, this in sound is an E major chord. The notes of an E major chord are E, G sharp, and B. But by spelling it differently, one thing you might notice is it just, for a musician trying to perform this stuff, typically maybe a guitarist might play this or a keyboard player, it looks different. And the first two chords, that's something that's very familiar to people. They're going to recognize that. They're going to have no trouble playing it. The second two chords, it's going to take them a minute. They'll figure it out, but it's not the way the notes are normally written. And if you remember from the discussion, the video the other day where I was talking about how to build chords, remember when you build chords, it doesn't matter what type. If you build chords, you're building them in thirds. You're stacking thirds. And so if I write out some natural notes here, okay, remember you're just going to skip letter names. So the first bass note I have here is an E, okay? And then the next note is a G sharp, throw a sharp on there, okay? And then finally a B on top. And you can see we're skipping every other letter name, E, G sharp, B. Now in the second example, let me get a different color here. In the second example, or the second measure, you've got an E going to an A flat, which we know now enharmonically is the same thing as G sharp. But on the page in the notation, it looks different. The spacing is different. And then you've got a B on top. So now all of a sudden, this doesn't look like a chord anymore. It's something else. It looks like to a performing musician, it's going to be what's called like a tone cluster, a grouping of notes that sort of acts like a chord, but it's not built maybe in the traditional way. But the first example with the E, G sharp, and B, that's a very friendly, familiar sort of configuration of notes that somebody's going to be able to perform very comfortably. The second measure, not so much. And it's because of this interval here, the E up to the A flat, and then right against it, the A flat against the B, that's a second. These intervals are not the types of intervals you see in combination to make chords, typically. So this is part of the reason why spelling notes is important. It has to do with notation and the way people, or how easily people can read music and perform it. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll see you next time.